Hello everyone, my name is Zhang Linlin. My metric number is 131786. It's an honor to present my research, the effectiveness of English total physical response mode in enhancing students' learning motivation and vocabulary mastery level in select rural elementary school in China. Now, it contains 10 parts. Now, number 1, the introduction. Number 2, the problem statement. Number 3, purpose and objectives. Number 4, literature review. Number 5, methodology. Number 6, key findings about quantitative result. And number 6, key findings, qualitative result. Number 7, discussion. Number 8, implication for practice. And then number 10, imitation and future research. Number 11, the conclusions. First part, the introduction. The introduction outlines the key aspects of the study, beginning with the content of the compulsory English curriculum reform and the increased vocabulary learning requirements for students. It highlights the challenge faced in rural areas, which teachers often lack of a adequate teaching theory, making vocabulary acquisition difficult for students. The study aims to address this gap by evaluating the effectiveness of the total physical response method in improving both students' motivation and vocabulary level in rural Chinese elementary schools. The introduction also presents the research framework, the significance and the limitation, and the conclude with the overview of the dissertation's structure. And then I will to stress on the background of the study. In China, with the rapid development of the economy and the deepening of globalization, the importance of English is becoming increasingly evident, especially under the promotion of educational reforms. The country has raised the requirements for English learning in compulsory education. However, the current state of English teaching in rural areas is far from satisfactory, particularly in terms of vocabulary teaching. Many teachers lack a systematic teaching series, which makes it difficult for students to grasp vocabulary effectively. This situation negatively impacts students' motivation to learn English in rural areas. So now, according to the background, here is the problem statement. Vocabulary is crucial in language learning and forms the basic of communication activities such as listening, speaking, reading, writing, and translating. Despite the obvious importance of vocabulary, traditional methods of vocabulary teaching such as remote memorization have proven to be effective, often leading to unsatisfactory learning outcomes and the tendency for students to lose interest, especially in China. Many students struggle to find effective ways to memorize vocabulary, and the monotony of the traditional teaching method further undermines their motivation. Therefore, there is an urgent need to introduce more interesting and effective vocabulary teaching strategies to enhance students' learning interest and effectiveness. So now the purpose and the objective of the research are following. Research purpose, this study aims to improve the effectiveness of the total physical response method, improving students' vocabulary acquisition and learning motivation. By comparing the experimentary data and the traditional teaching method with TPR, and the study evaluated the application and the effectiveness of TPR in rural elementary schools. And the research objectives consist of 4. Number 1, to evaluate the effectiveness of total physical response mode in improving students' motivation in a rural elementary school in China. Number 2 is to evaluate the effectiveness of TPR mode in improving the improving the vocabulary level of students in rural elementary school in China. Number 3 is to investigate how TPR mode can enhance students' motivation in a rural elementary school in China. And the last one is to investigate how TPR mode can improve students' vocabulary level in a rural elementary school in China. Then the second part is the literature review, and according to previous study from the international and the local, and we can see the following. Global numerous study has proven the effectiveness of TPR method in vocabulary retention and learning motivation. For example, in 2020, and it found that students using TPR performed excellent in vocabulary learning and long-term retention. Then in 2019, there is experimental research to show that TPR not only enhances students' vocabulary retention, but also significantly boosts their classroom engagement. And for the local research in China, the introduction of the TPR method came relatively late, but with the internationalization of the basic education, its application in English teaching has gradually increased. Studies show that TPR is highly effective in enhancing vocabulary retention and stimulating students' interest in learning, such as the research in 2021, Wang and Yun. However, most research focused on TPR overall application with limited empirical study on specific language skills like vocabulary teaching. And then for the theoretical framework of the research, and it's based on Collection's second language acquisition theory, which emphasizes promoting language learning through rich, comprehensive input rather than focus on output. The TPR method aligns with their theory by combining physical actions with language instructions. Additionally, the study draws on the Gordon's multiple intelligence theory, where TPR activates students' motor and visual intelligence, effectively stimulating their motivation to learn. And for the methodology about this research, it used a mixed method approach, and it was employed in the study. And for the qualitative method, the quantitative method composed involved a pre and post test and the questionnaire design. The pre and post test mirrored vocabulary acquisition. The questionnaire assessed learning motivation. A total of 90 students were divided into experimental and control group, which the experimental group receiving the TPR mode teaching. And for the qualitative method, a semi-structured interview was conducted with students who were in the experimental classes to explore students' subjective experience with the TPR method. And the sample consisted 2 fourth grade classes from the select primary school in Lianzhou Town, Gaochun District, Shandong District, Hebei Province. And the experimental group received 1 month of TPR instruction, while the control group continued with the traditional teaching method. All the participants were first grade students and have no period formal training in the TPR method. And then this is the key finding, the qualitative result. Now from the pre-test and post-test, according to the tables, the vocabulary test scores of students in the experimental class improved significantly after 1 month training in the TPR teaching method. The mean score on the pre-test was 5.56, and then the mean score on the post-test was 6.86. 33, which was much higher than the slight improvement in the control class, and from 5.55 to 5.64. This result suggests that TPR teaching method is more effective in improving students' vocabulary and mastery than the traditional teaching method. And then according to Cohen effect size, it suggests that this difference is also significant in practical. And then for the questionnaire, and we can see the result from the table 4.1 and 4.2. The questionnaire data reveals the significant increase in the interest of students in experimental group after receiving TPR instruction. Before the experiment, only 26.66% of students were interested in learning vocabulary. But by the end of the experiment, this percentage has risen to 55% to 56%. In contrast, the control group shows the minimal changes over the same period. The result of the questionnaire and interview show that students generally believe that the interactive and fine TPR classroom stimulate their enthusiasm for English learning. And for the key findings, qualitative result about the interview, and we can see the schematic analysis approach to analyzing qualitative review. And from the table 4.9, we can get the result like this. Qualitative data show that TPR teaching method created a stress-free learning environment for students. Low-level students reduced learning anxiety in this atmosphere and were more willing to participate in classroom activities and actively use English for expression. This result supports the theory that TPR can reduce students' language learning anxiety and provide support for language input and output. A TPR pedagogy has a positive effect on students at a different level. High-level students feel that TPR accelerated their understanding of vocabulary, while low-level students give feedback that the STANCE method reduced learning stress and increased their motivation to participate. Qualitative review show that students of different learning based can benefit from the TPR method, but the specific effect depends on the student's learning, students' language based and needed. And for the discussion part, according to the key findings about the qualitative result and quantitative result, it showed that TPR pedagogy significantly increased the students increased and engaged in English vocabulary learning, which is consistent with the finding of several studies. For example, in 2019 and 2020s, and there are different research state that TPR pedagogy can effectively promote student vocabulary memorization by combining body movement and the verb input. The data analysis of this study also showed the students in the experimental group performed considerably better than the control group. And in addition, the data from this study showed that TPR method significantly improves student classroom engagement and learning attitude. This is in line with the finding of Liu and Chen in 2021, and we found that TPR pedagogy not only contributed to immediately vocabulary memorization, but also showed a significant long-term effectiveness in delayed tests in teaching English in elementary school in Iran. So now, according to the result, the key findings show the implication in practice. From the practical point of view, this study of great practical significance to resource poor rural schools. In these areas, teaching resources are limited and teachers tend to rely on traditional grammar. translation method or the mechanical memorization, while TPR as a pedagogy based on movement and language coordination does not require additional teaching resources and is able to achieve good teaching results in low-cost environment. This study showed that through the TPR method, students are not only more actively involved in learning vocabulary, but also able to improve their vocabulary memorization and comprehension in the more relaxed classroom atmosphere. Therefore, TPR provides an effective and easy to implement teaching method for rural teachers who like advanced teaching tools. By training students in TPR implementation skills, the quality of English language teaching in rural areas can be significantly improved. In addition, this study provides the basis for policymakers that TPR pedagogy can use as an effective tool to improve the quality of rural education, especially English language teaching. And then as also has limitation and for this research, and it also have the advice for further research. The first is for the limitation. This study faced several limitations. The small and the localized sample size may affect the generalizability of the result, as different regions could have varied linguistic and the cultural backgrounds. The research during was short, limiting understanding of TPR long-term impact on vocabulary retention. Additionally, the data collection method relies heavily on the questionnaire test and the interviews, which may not fully capture students' stable behaviors and emotion response. The role of teacher was also not deeply explored, though their teaching styles and experience may be significantly influenced. TPR's effectiveness. Lastly, the study found that TPR was more effective for simple vocabulary and with limited success in teaching abstract or the complex words. Now, for the further research, should explain the sample size and include a more diverse students group to assess the broader application of study of TPR. Across different regions and cultures, long-term studies are necessary to evaluate the TPR's lasting effective on vocabulary retention and over language proficiency. Accordingly, in incorporating methods such as classroom observation and video analysis would provide a more comprehensive understanding of how TPR influence learning. Research should also investigate how teacher factors such as the training and the teaching styles affect the success of TPR. Finally, exploring the integration of TPR with other pedagogic methods could enhance its effectiveness, particularly when teaching more abstract or complex vocabulary. And for the last conclusion, and it contains 3 points. Number one, the summary key finding. And this study confirms experimentally that the physical response teaching method has a significant fascinating effective in teaching English vocabulary in Chinese rural elementary. The findings show that compared with the traditional teaching method, TPR not only effective, it has students' interest in English learning, but also significantly improves students' learning attitude, especially in terms of classroom participant and motivation. During the 1-month experiment, students in the experiment group significantly improved their scores on vocabulary tests, which indicates that TPR can effectively enhance students' vocabulary memorization and practically application skills. The study also found that TPR significantly enhanced students' vocabulary mastery by combining language learning with body movement and enabling them to learn words in a relaxed and enjoyable atmosphere. Compared with the control group of the students using traditional teaching method, the experiment group students' learning outcomes were more obvious, prove that TPR can significantly improve their students' vocabulary in a short period of time. And then for the recommendation, and for the practice part, rural teachers should receive specialized TPR training to guide students in vocabulary learning through body movement, enhancing the interaction and participation. The training should focus on design engaging activities that spark interest in English. Schools should integrate TPR into English curriculum, especially at the elementary level. To improve vocabulary acquisition and language skills, the regular teacher workshop to share TPR experience are the recommended to optimize its use. TPR is ideal for resource-limited rural schools as it relies on simple command and verbs cues and reducing cost while offering an effective practical teaching solution. And for the future research, and TPR should expand more diverse rural schools, covering different geographic, cultural, and economic context to ensure broader application. Studies should also explore TPR's effective on other language skills, such as grammar, speaking, and listening comprehension beyond the vocabulary learning. Additionally, long-term training studies are needed to assess the sustained impact of TPR on language retention, practical use, motivation, and learning habits, providing a stronger foundation for its comprehensive application in education. So now that's all the presentation about my research. Thank you.